Today I would like to show you how to enable the root user access to your AWS Ubuntu or Linux instance. By default, root access to an ec2 instance is disabled, and you have to enable it by yourself to log in as a root user. By default, AWS will assign you a pseudo user depending on the type of Amazon machine instance you've deployed. Now, when you've deployed Ubuntu instance, the user you're gonna get is called Ubuntu, and that user is a pseudo user. Now, to access the root user, this means that we need to do some bit of tweaking in our SSHD configuration file, and then allow root login to the server. Sometimes you may need to have root access to the server for some reasons. There are some scripts that you run and they require you to have root access to your server. For example, I've written an article about this, and I've explained a lot of things regarding this topic, and you find the link in the description below to know the difference between the root user and the pseudo user. So, as I said, if you installed Ubuntu as your choice Amazon machine image, a pseudo user called Ubuntu is by default created. So you use this Ubuntu user to remotely SSH into your server. But there are some scripts, as I said, that would require you to have access to your root home directory. However, I have noticed that you're not likely to access the root home directory if you are a pseudo user. Now, let me show you what I'm trying to mean here. I have a server that is running on AWS, and the server has Ubuntu installed. Now, we can connect to this server as a pseudo user, and let's try to log in. As I said, they'll give you Ubuntu as your user. The default user, by default, Ubuntu is the name of the user assigned to your instance. Now we will just copy this command, and then we will go to our SSH terminal. I have my private key stored under the downloads folder. Now all I have to do is to just paste that key here and then hit enter. We can type yes. Okay, so now we are logged in as pseudo user Ubuntu, and the default directory of Ubuntu user is Ubuntu. You can see that we are in a Ubuntu home directory as the default directory created by the system. Now, assuming that I needed to go back, I want to go and probably have a root access. I could do this with SU and try to log in. They will ask me for a password, which I don't have, because on AWS, by default, if you're running a Linux instance, you're gonna use a private key. So I don't have the password to access the root side of my instance. Now, what do I need to do? The other option I have to do is to do some tweaking inside the SSH configuration file, and then I change everything. Now, okay, this is not enough. Let me also try to go back. When I try to go back, and try to go back. Okay, so I will have the file system, okay, so you can see that this is the files, this is our file system assigned to this user. Now let's try to probably access the root, this one, the root directory. When I type cd root permission denied, I cannot access that root. I can't access it. Now let me try to assign some permission to that directorate and see whether it's gonna work. So I'm gonna do let's try to do 7 just for the purposes. Don't do that, but just for the purposes of this tutorial. Okay, I cannot do that. I cannot access that folder however much I want to do it. So what do I need to do now to access that folder? This folder is critical because it contains maybe critical data for the system, but maybe we may need to have access to it because some scripts are likely to generate some scripts are likely to generate files in that folder, and we may need to have access to those files. Now the only way we have to do is to allow remote we have to allow root login. Now we can do this by editing the SSH configuration file. So we need to edit this SSH config file, and it is located in SSH directory. So we can go there by, we're gonna use nano. You can use Vim or any other editor of your preference. For my case, I'm gonna use nano because I find it convenient for myself to use. Now I'm gonna just copy. You can copy this command, and then at this point you must stay logged in as Ubuntu as sudo user, and then paste and then hit enter. Now the SSH configuration file is now open. The other thing that we need to do is to find this line. We have to find permit login line. If this line doesn't exist in this SSH configuration file, then we just have to include it by ourselves. We can just include it, type it there, and then that is all. So to find this file, the most convenient way to find this file is probably to searching if you want to search for something in nano, you just hit Control then W. If you're using Windows, you just hit Control and then W. So let's type permit root login. Okay, permit root login, and then let's try to search for it. As you can see, the permit root login prohibit password. Now what we can do is just to we can just type this line below. We can just type this line below. So we can type this line below and say permit P is capital, P is capital, permit root login, and then space yes. Right, that's all what we need from this file. You just have to either, if the line is there, you just have to say yes. If it's not there, then you just have to type it permit root login yes. The next thing is to save the changes on this file. Now to do that, if you're using Windows, you could just click press Ctrl X to exit, and then select Y, yes, to save changes, meaning to save changes. So Y, that will basically save the changes, and then after that you can hit enter, right? Ctrl X and then Y and hit enter. So the changes have already been saved. Now to confirm, we can go back again to our SSHD configuration file and confirm if the line that we put there is existing. So we do that by again searching for the line. We press Ctrl W and then type in permit root login, hit enter. Okay, as you can see, the line we had put already is now existing. Good. So we can be rest assured that the changes have reflected in the file. Now we can just exit the nano editor. Now the next thing is we have to go to this authorized keys file. This file, which is named authorized keys file, it is found under this directory. Now to do that, we're gonna use sudo nano, or you just have to copy this command and paste in your SSH terminal. Now this is gonna open the file. Okay, it's gonna open the file. Now what we need to do is to delete this part, starting from no port forwarding. We have to delete that part, and then up to here we have to delete this part up to there, up to where SSH dash RSA begins from. So this entire line is gonna be deleted, and then we're gonna leave this side of the line of the string to remain. Now to do that, you must make sure you are at the end of this. Let me repeat this one more time, not to confuse you. Okay, starting from no port forwarding up to around here. Up to here, we're gonna delete up to there, right? we have to delete up to here, and then we will save the changes. To do that, we just have to hit backspace to control to edit, to delete. Okay, so make sure this file remains like that as you see it. Okay, don't add anything, and just making sure it's just like that. Now again, you have to control X, press Y and hit enter to save changes. Okay, again we can confirm if our changes have reflected by yes, they have reflected, and then we can just now exit, and let's go back to the article. Once we've done that, we can restart our SSHD service or SSHD daemon by copying this command. I'll leave the link in the description below for this article so that you can follow all the instructions to achieve having root access to your server. So we can copy this command, or sudo systemctl restart SSHD, then just paste and then hit enter. Yes, so the SSHD daemon has restarted. Now the next thing that we need to do is to log out from the current SSH session, so to enable us to log in as root. As I told you, we are currently logged in as Ubuntu, which is a pseudo user. We are not logged in as root. As you can see, this is Ubuntu, the username to this SSH profile, but we want to log in now as root to this server. To do that, you have to first log out or exit or anything like that. Okay, so we have exited, we have exited. So the next thing is to go back to we can go back here. As you can see, originally this is the username, this is the username to the pseudo user to our instance. But since we've enabled the root user to our server, we will replace Ubuntu with root as the username to our server. To do that, you can just copy again this command and again go back, hit. Okay, that's not what we wanted. Let's find a notepad and then paste, and then remove edit root, edit Ubuntu, and put root. Now make sure the name of your private key is what is here, because this is my private key, and make sure either you're using your server public IP address or the public DNS name assigned to your instance. Any can work. So we will just copy. This is now root as a user, so we just copy our command, go back to our SSH terminal, and then enter. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are now logged in as root on our server. So as you can see, you can even say pwd print working directorate. You can see that the home directorate to our user is root. We can go to that directorate and find sorry, we can go back a little bit, and then as you can see, we are inside the root account. Okay, so we are inside the root account. When you go to the home directory, you find another directory assigned to Ubuntu sudo user. So this is the directory assigned to the sudo user we previously used, or we had that is by default assigned to the instance. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so much for watching this video, and I ask you to like this video, follow this channel, please. I wanna get 1,000 subscribers, and when you subscribe to this channel, there's nothing you're gonna lose when you subscribe. Honestly speaking, if you hit that subscription button, there's nothing you're gonna lose. It will be a show of support to the content I put here. It also encourages me that someone is out there cares and find my content helpful. So please subscribe, because I've noticed that over 99% of people who watch these videos, they don't subscribe. So only 1% are willing to support me to subscribe to this channel. So help me by supporting me by subscribing and liking the video, and even sharing if you find it fit. Thank you so much, and see you again.